Vikings fans, to another edition of Vikings on SI. Jonathan Harrison here, joined once again by Nolan O'Hara and Joe Nelson for our weekly Vikings prediction segment. Let's jump right into this. Vikings taking on the Bears, the final game of a three-game road trip back into NFC North action against a Bears team that's 4-6 on a four-game losing streak. The wheels are clearly starting to fall off in Chicago. Nolan, let's get your prediction first this week.
Yeah, I think it is just another one where the Vikings are running into not that great of a team. I'm picking them to win once again on Sunday. I think it'll be a close game. It's in Chicago, might be a little windy, cold weather. But I think defense translates. I think Caleb Williams is a promising quarterback, but he is a rookie. I think Brian Flores has flustered a lot of quarterbacks who have a lot more experience than him. And I just don't really see any way they're going to be able to generate much offense against that unit. And I think even though the Vikings have had kind of an up and down offense over the last few weeks here, I think they'll be able to do just enough to kind of push them over the top. So I just don't see the Bears being able to do anything against Flores' defense. And I think the Vikings walk out of Soldier Field with the win. I picked them to win 23-17.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about how Soldier Field is a place where the Vikings go and weird things tend to happen. I think that's kind of an old narrative at this point. I know that it's been in recent enough memory that some funky things will go down at Soldier Field. The turf's goofy and it's just always strange. But the Vikings have gone there four straight times and won. I mean, Matt Eberflus's regime has not had much success against the Vikings. And when you really take a 30,000-foot view of who the Bears are this season, they're a bad team. They looked pretty good when they were 4-2 or whatever it was, but now they're 4-6, I believe, and they're reeling. And when you look at who they've actually beaten, I mean, just go look at the schedule. You will not be impressed. Tennessee in week 1. The Rams, who were banged up beyond all bang up in week number 4. And then they beat the Patriots and they beat the Jaguars. This is awful. They haven't beaten a good team yet this season. The Rams, yes, are a good team, but not with the roster they played in that game. So they haven't beaten anybody good. The Vikings are one of the best teams they have played all season long, and I think, Nolan, you're right. Caleb Williams is going to have his hands full. Our colleagues over at Chicago Bears on SI, Gene Chamberlain, was writing, they're going to have a great blitz pickup scheme because if Flores gets all over Caleb Williams like he expects them to, it's going to be a long day for the rookie. There's no savior. There's no quick pass, no hot read that's going to save this guy. The Bears just aren't good enough, and it's going to be a long Sunday for him. I don't think the Bears get to double-digit points.
Ooh, what's your score?
I think I said 27-8. The only way it's closer, guys, is if Sam Darnold, has a Jets Darnold day and he turns the ball over a few times. But if Darnold's just doing his job, game managing, this should be a cakewalk for Minnesota.
I think the part that concerns me is the lack of a running game that we've seen, especially with the changes on the offensive line. Some of the replacements are clearly better at pass blocking than they are at run blocking, and it just hasn't worked out. I mean, Aaron Jones has really struggled of late, whether that's injury, usage, whatnot. The Vikings have just seemed to struggle in the run game of late. It doesn't look like the same game that they've had earlier this season. Hopefully they can find a way to kind of pick that up this Sunday against against the Bears defense that doesn't really protect or stop the run all that well. But that really concerns me because it puts more on Sam Darnold's shoulders, and we've seen what that can do at times. Though, saying all that, I think the Vikings' electric defense comes through. Caleb Williams is just going to have a really tough day, and the Vikings, I think, will win this one 24-7 is what I had it at. Nolan, you had Tony and Will's predictions since they're out today. What did they come up with?
Yeah, so Tony also had a similar take as ours, right? So he picked the Vikings to win 28-17. Kind of the same thing. Two teams going different directions. The Vikings are on a win streak. The Bears are pretty much floundering here. And he also expects the defense to be able to come through. But Will went a different direction and picked the Vikings to lose for the first time this season, kind of citing some of, like Joe was talking about, the goofy plays that tend to happen at Soldier Field, even though they have won four in a row. and that Caleb Williams with the new play caller did pretty well in his first week last week against the Packers. They only lost that game by a point, which is, a good Packers team. They were competitive. And then the Bears defense also forces a lot of turnovers. So we've seen with Sam Darnold, he's been throwing interceptions kind of left and right lately. And so he's got the Bears winning a close one, 2017 on
Yeah,
Sunday, Soldier Field.
yeah. I'm just Will went to school in Chicago, so he feels things differently. And we'll give him that, and he may very well be correct. But even the Green Bay game, it was a close game, right? 20-19. Chicago had a chance to win it with a field goal at the end, and it gets blocked or whatever. But Green Bay only had the ball for 23 minutes. That was a terrible performance by Green Bay. Green Bay did not force a turnover, which is rare. Green Bay is one of the best turnover forcing teams in the NFL. I just think, Caleb Williams is his interception free streak is at like 146 pass attempts. That's probably going to end. The Bears are going to goof something up. This feels like a team that is quitting on the head coach and Matt Eberflus, right? I mean, it was just a few weeks ago we were talking here on this channel about how wide receiver DJ Moore was asked, hey, do you feel like the coaching staff has lost the locker room? And his response was drawn out. Let me think about it. I don't think so. I mean, that's pretty bad, right? If you can't have conviction in your answer when you're one of the team leaders about whether your coaching staff has lost the locker room, no team responds well to an offensive coordinator change in the middle of the season. Just go back and look at Norv Turner and John DeFilippo years ago with the Minnesota Vikings. Mike Zimmer was firing coordinators left and right, and eventually he got the axe, right? The top has to come down eventually if you want true change to take place. That's what's going to happen in Chicago in due time. Sorry, Matt Eberflus, you're not the answer. And this season is spiraling out of control for a reason for the Bears. Their offense is garbage right now, and there's no way in hell that they beat the Vikings on Sunday. I'm going to guarantee it right now.
Ooh, rare.
I mean, it's not that big of a guarantee. The Bears are bad. They're just not very good.
Yeah, that's true. All right, before we head out here, because we're going to make this a shorter video, time crunch and all, give me your guys', since we didn't do 5 key matchups yesterday with Will, since he was out as well. He's taking a long weekend, deservedly so. Give me your key players to this game for the Vikings and how they impact a win for Minnesota, Joe.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, if you had to give me the key players, it's going to be Andrew Van Ginkel, Patrick Jones, and Jonathan Grenard, because containing Caleb Williams is a big key too. We heard Brian Flores, Minnesota's defensive coordinator, talk about it this week. You got to keep him in the pocket. You can't let him extend plays and allow wide receivers more time to find spaces in the defense. Williams sounds, based on his quotes this week, that he's prepared to take some shots down the field, kind of like Will Levis did last week. Now, Will Levis extended some plays, took some shots, and they worked out. Still didn't look great overall as an offense. I expect something similar this week with the Vikings defense against Chicago. But if you can keep Caleb Williams in the pocket, I think he's going to have a really long day.
So Joe went with the defense. I'm not worried about the defense at all. I just don't see any way the Bears are really going to be able to do much. So I'll go with some offensive players for the Vikings, starting with Aaron Jones in the running game. Like you were saying, Jonathan, they do need him to get going, and he's been a little bit banged up. Hopefully that's just all it's been and that he kind of gets back on track. I think obviously Justin Jefferson, you're going to want to get him the ball, try to get a big play or two against really a good, strong Bears defense. And then Sam Darnold at quarterback. He's got to not turn the ball over. I think that's pretty much all he'll really need to do. Make the right plays, not turn the ball over, try to run time off the clock, and I think the Vikings should really cruise to a win here. But it's just going to come down to getting things going on offense, and I'd let the defense just take care of Caleb Williams and the Bears.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. Should be an exciting one for sure. Vikings looking to extend their win streak to 4, looking to make the Bears go to a 5-game losing streak as they have to turn around and play a Thanksgiving Day game against the Red Hot Lions, who I'm sure will just rack up the score against an NFC North opponent and rival. Looking forward to this one this weekend, boys. I will assume we'll be back on with the game recap after that one, right back here on the Bring Me the Sports YouTube channel. Do hit subscribe, does help us get found, also helps you get notified every time we post a new video. Looking forward to talking to you guys right back here on the channel on Monday about another topic across Minnesota sports. Bye.